Hello, everyone. So, as we are getting started with today's live show, I just want to preface by saying that we are getting solar panels put in to our house, and you're going to hear construction and possibly people walking on our roof. So, just as a heads up, there is going to be some background noise. I apologize, but I am committed to, showing up every single week with you, recording these live shows so that even if you don't tune in live, you have some video that, might help you by chance. Maybe there's someone out there that's, going to be encouraged by this, and that is why I do this. So, that being said, welcome to the Prep Talk live show. My name is Kissa. I'm a food entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 17 years now, and I own a food business. So here on the Prep Talk live show, I like to just share about what's going on with life, plan with you guys for the week. That way you guys can apologize. I forgot to turn my phone on silent. But I like to prep with you guys during the week just so that we can kind of set goals together, put our to-do list together, and then I also like to share some tips and tricks about either pop-ups or owning a food or product business. And so that's what this show is about. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about it. If you have watched any of the live shows in the past, I used to record all the shows in my living room because that's where my office was. And today I am celebrating because I am in my new home office. Yes, I am. And I'm so excited to be in here, to tell you the truth, because it was so hard to just run business and do these live shows in the first place. It was just so hard to do anything when your office is in the living room. But we had no extra space. There was nothing I could really do about it. And so I made it work. And I'm proud of myself for making it work. But I was patient. And now I have my home office. So if it's a little bit echoey in here also, that's because all I have in here is my desk. And as you can see in this corner, we're not quite done with the room. It's like 97% complete. But I am so excited to be in here, guys. I'm so excited to have a space to call my own. This is also going to act as a guest room. So I'm gonna plan to have a couch in here that can convert into like a sofa bed or a sofa sleeper type thing. So we're gonna kind of arrange the room so that it's ideal for not only a guest room, but also an office. And I want to make sure that the lighting is ideal. I feel like the lighting right now is not ideal. So I feel like I'm going to end up moving my office or my desk closer to the window so I can get better lighting. But anyway, welcome. Welcome to my not complete, but almost complete office. This is where all the videos are going to be filmed from now on, and I'm sure you'll see over time that the ambiance is going to kind of change over time. I'm planning to just, try and up-level the space, make it, a little more production friendly, and so I'm really excited. So welcome to the office. I'm excited to have you here, but let's jump into what happened last week, shall we? So last week, we had our first brunch pop-up in months. If you don't know, I live here in the LA area and it's been really hot. So instead of doing brunch pop-ups during the day when the sun is just beating down and it's crazy, crazy hot, we decided to change to evening pop-ups. That way when it's, darker out there, the sun isn't just killing you, and it's a better atmosphere, just because people feel more excited to be out when it's cooler. So this past Sunday, yes, was our first brunch pop-up, and it was a great day. It was not too hot. It was still hot, but not as hot as it's been. So it was a great turnout. I met a bunch of amazing new fellow vendors and people. So I was really excited about that, because I've said this in live shows in the past, but if you're going to be a participator in a pop-up of some kind, a pop-up event, there's a lot more benefit than just the opportunity to sell product at these events. And when it's a slower pace or a more steady pace, I love to walk to each table, get to know the other entrepreneurs, and just kind of like genuinely build my community around me, right? Because we all need that. And when it comes to owning a business, especially if you're just starting out and you're a home-based business, it could be really lonely, because you think that you're just in it by yourself and no one gets you. And the truth is, there are people out there that you can relate to, that you can talk to about the struggles of being an entrepreneur, or the struggles of, wearing 5 million different hats, whether it's you being a wife, a mom, a significant other, and then also owning a business. Maybe you have a side hustle, maybe you have a full-time job. Everyone's going through something, and I can bet you there's someone out there that can relate. And so what I like to do when it's, a little bit slower, or when we have downtime, is I like to pay a visit to all the vendors and just say hello, introduce myself, and just see who I just immediately get vibes from, where I'm like, ooh, we can be friends. We can probably maybe meet up for coffee because we have a lot in common, that type of thing. And that's really, really important, because you not only can you get opportunities from meeting more people. The bigger your network, the more opportunities that can come your way. But like I said, lasting friendships and relationships is the most important part. And I remember when we first started Ninong's, which was in 2008, the first few years, I was just so convinced that the industry was just so cutthroat and people only wanted to focus on competition. That's just what I was convinced. And I just said, okay, well, if that's what it is, then I'm just never going to have my tribe, my people that I can actually relate to. And I just closed myself off. I just said, okay, well, all I'm going to do is just focus on, getting the work done, focus on growing the business, but there's no one out there that gets me. And it felt really, really lonely. And then one day, my cousin actually kind of did a soft introduction on social media to a friend that also owns a Philippine cafe. And I realized, there are people out there that don't just focus on competition and beating the other companies out, or being better than the other company, or, just all this negative stuff. I was just not about it. I hadn't up to that point met anyone else that actually believed that community was important. And it's okay to have colleagues that are your competition technically, but that aren't out to get you or steal your product or take your ideas or anything like that. And when I had met this person, I was like, oh my God, they exist. Yay! I was just so happy. And so ever since then, it's still hard for me to get myself out of that mentality, because it was for so long that I just thought that that's how I was going to live my entrepreneurial life. But, over time, I've taught myself to be more outgoing and to put myself out there more and not be afraid of, getting hurt is the wrong phrase, but, just being myself and being unashamed to be myself. And if that is a person that is focused on competition, that's focused on community, not competition, and I get hurt over that, then that's not my problem. That's the other person's problem, And so as long as I'm being my true self and I'm being genuine and I'm putting the best intentions out there, then that's all I can do. And so I've been a lot better about that and being less timid and less afraid to just be like, hi, my name is Kissa. What do you do? I'd love to hear more about what you sell. And then just try and find, commonalities with all these people that I meet over time. So that's what I did this past weekend. It was a lot of fun. It's different vibes, at every single event. Even if you go to the same event, organized by the same organizer, sometimes it's just the vendors that are there. Sometimes it's the customers that come. The vibe can be different almost every time. And so the vibe of the last one, the pop-up from yesterday, was just so great. So I am really happy that we decided to do it. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I hope everyone that was at yesterday's pop-up had a great one too. Our next pop-up is going to be this coming Saturday. I'll talk more about that later, but that was last week. I don't know if I mentioned this on the live show yet. Maybe I have, but it has been a mission lately. Not just last week, but the past month. It has been a mission to find raw ingredients. Oh, it's been so hard because of the backup at the ports here in LA, and it's just been so hard because of all of the stuff that's been going on the last year? No, 2 years. It's been hard, and the food industry is, not exempt from that. As a Philippine American business, we get a lot of products imported from the Philippines, and it has been so hard to source those products. There's a shortage on ingredients, and all I've been doing last week, the weeks before that, has just been trying to find, vendors that are in the US that can get us product, because there's interest on the retail end of it, right? There's people that want to buy and are willing to pay for product. And then there's you that's selling it to them. And then there's the vendors that you order your raw materials from. And that's where the trouble lies. In numerous industries, I've heard it's also in the car industry. There's a shortage of new cars. In the food industry, just like I mentioned, in the tech industry, because all of these things are coming from overseas. And it's so hard when there's nothing you can do and you're at a standstill. And this last week, I really struggled with it. It was one of those moments where I feel like I was just at my breaking point, and I was like, this is out of my control. What the heck do I do? I can't find anything. I just feel so frustrated, immensely frustrated. And I just was like, Kissa, remember, this is out of your control, and you're not the only one experiencing these things. Other people are too. Other businesses are too. And I think the reason why I was struggling with it so much was because I'm a numbers person. I have always been, and I can see the opportunity right in front of me. Right? There are people messaging us all the time that's like, when are you going to restock? Can we increase our order? Can we, there's just so much possibility, yet I can't grasp that opportunity because I can't deliver. I can't increase their order. I can't restock our online store. I can't do all those things because the very basics of what we need isn't available. And this never used to be a problem, which is so crazy. it's just a sign of the times that we live in now, right? Like there's a ripple effect to everything that happens, and we're foolish to think that we don't get affected by world events, but we do. We really do. On an individual, on a local level, we do get affected when you really look at what's going on. And I'm not getting political here, but the whole thing that I say is we do get affected, and the best we can do is just control what we can control. And that's what I told myself last week. There's nothing you can do. So just take a deep breath, exhale the stress out, and just communicate to everyone what's happening. And either they'll understand or they won't, but most do. And I'm so grateful for that. That I'm grateful for the connections that I've made and the opportunities that have come from those connections. And a lot of those connections have just been from me learning how to be myself and not be ashamed of who I am. But also that goes with, sometimes you don't want to say anything to your client or your customer because you don't want them to get upset. But if you're just honest and you're telling them where you're coming from, especially if you're coming from a place of, good rapport with that client, then they'll understand most of the time. And if they don't, then c'est la vie. Maybe it wasn't meant to be, And so that was a big eye-opener for me last week, and I wanted to share that with you guys just in case you're going through the same thing of struggling to find product, or just struggling in general. So that's what that is. Last week I showed you guys my affirmation. It was this one right here, and I couldn't read it for the longest time because the font was just so weird. But I wanted to read it again and share it with you guys. It said, "My faith is bolder and louder than my fear." And it really hit home for me. This particular one, I felt like I got it at the right time because there are a lot of things that I have put on my plate that are not, that I know are not for me. There are things that I'm going to have to cut ties with eventually because they are not for me. They're not going to advance any of the things that I'm setting out for my life, or any of the goals that I have. They were decisions that I made out of fear. And so when this came up, I felt it. I just knew. I was like, I know what this is about. And, in due time, I'm going to have to cut those things out, because if I'm just acting based on fear and I'm taking things on that are not for me, not only am I taking time away from the things that really matter, but I'm also taking that opportunity away from someone that it's supposed to be for. Does that make sense? And so this really hit me. I'll share with you guys what the affirmation will be for next week, as usual. But let's talk about this week. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you guys can go ahead and plan along with me. So, Google Chrome, sorry. So here is my Notion setup. If you have never tuned in before, I'm a Notion user, but I've used tons of different applications. I've used a paper planner. I've used a digital planner. I've used Evernote. I've used Todoist. You'll see on my YouTube channel my old videos on Evernote and stuff like that. So currently I'm using Notion. I'm loving it. I feel like it fits well with my life right now. And so this is the dashboard that I've kind of created that I open up every single day. And right below, I have my weekly agenda because I plan my life in weeks versus daily or monthly. And so I've already created my agenda for this upcoming week. And if you want to see this template, I've created a template for this, and you're more than welcome to use it and customize it for yourself. If you would like it, just let me know in the comments below, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. But let's go ahead and plan what's going on so that we can get a better perspective of what is on the agenda for this week. So I'm just basically setting the filters on my daily journal and my to-do list. But let's start from the very top, shall we? So let's put in this week's affirmation. So that was the card that I showed you. I have a deck of cards that are basically an affirmation. And I pick one for every single week, and I leave it at my desk. So I'm just going to shuffle the cards and pick one. So I'm just going to fan it out really quick, then pick a random one, and let's see what it says. Oh, I've had this one before, but it's fate. So it says, I will not hurry my destiny. It will find me when I'm ready. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so let's put that in this week's affirmation. I will not hurry my destiny. It will find me when I'm ready. That's good. That's a good one. All right. So next is what we're going to focus on. So this week, I'm going to be focusing on the home office because I desperately need to get this place in gear, at least usable. And so I'm going to be working on that. And then we bought a few things to update our kitchen. So we bought a new microwave. We bought a few pantry organization things. So that is going to be on my list to work on as well. And then I think the last thing I want to focus on this week is eating better. So because life has been so crazy and I have been so stressed, admittedly, I have not been eating the best. And I can feel the effects of it. So I'm going to be better about my food choices, and I'm going to start this week. I bought a few things, and I harvested some vegetables from my vegetable garden in the backyard. So hopefully I can do better and make better food decisions. Now, that being said, one thing that I'm going to do today is I need to defrost some protein. So I'm going to go into my daily journal because this is going to help me just get started and get into the right mindset and know what I have to get done today so that I feel like I've accomplished something. So I create my daily journal for that. I'm going to reference this week's weekly agenda. Why is my mouse being so slow? Okay. So the week of September 13th through 19th, and I'm going to put in my gratitude today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to better my environment. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to just improve this, change this room into something that's functional for me, improve our kitchen and make it a little bit better and more organized. So I'm really grateful for that. Today I'm feeling thankful. I'm feeling accomplished. Okay. And wow, what's going on? My keyboard and my mouse are just completely acting up. Of course, when I need it to work for me, that is when everything gets all messed up. And then anyway, so I've created this daily journal template, as you guys have seen. If you have, if you've watched previous live shows, I've created this template so that when I just click, it automatically populates my daily journal, and I can get straight into it instead of having to create this every single time. So I've gotten ready for this morning. I checked my calendar. I did not do a weigh-in this morning, so that I'm going to start doing tomorrow. I've had a glass of water. I've had my thankful morning coffee. I just shared my gratitude with you guys, and I haven't done my daily download yet or my mantras. My mantra, I just call them mantras, but those are my affirmations. So I did our affirmation today. That is going to be our affirmation for the week. Now, let's go into my focus today. So I will prep food for the week, because if I don't, I'll be tempted to make bad food choices. When I do this, I will have meals easy to eat. Okay, so that is what I'm going to focus on. One thing I'm going to focus on today. Another is I will move more office furniture into the home office, because if I don't, the office won't be functional. When I do, I can experiment on where to put everything. So I'm not buying any new office furniture. I have a lot of things that was in my original home office. If you guys haven't seen any of my videos, I actually turned my original home office into my son's nursery. And so that is his room now. And we moved all of my office furniture into the garage because we were actually going to sell it off. Because at the time we had our restaurant and I had an office inside the restaurant. And we don't have our restaurant anymore, unfortunately. And so I need a home office again. And so thankfully, we didn't sell any of it. And now I can move it into this room. So I'm not buying any furniture. I'm actually just going to reuse as much as I can. And then hopefully the only thing I end up buying is actually the sleeper sofa or the sofa bed. So I'll definitely be updating you guys about that on the live shows. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in like interior design or what the home office is going to look like, make sure you guys tune in. Okay, and then another thing that I'm going to focus on today is I will catch up on what's the word? On my weekly agenda so that I can see what needs to get done this week. So after a pop-up, I tend to feel a little lost because I'm just so focused on that event, right? And so I just kind of lose track of everything else. And so after a pop-up like the one we had yesterday, I like to just kind of look at my weekly task list again just to see what I didn't do. Because I know myself, there's going to be stuff that I did not do that I should have done, basically. And so you'll see in my task list right here, there are going to be things from the weekend, from Thursday, from Friday, from Saturday that I didn't get done, and they're past due. So these are things that I'm going to definitely look through and reprioritize, set new due dates, and do all of that. That way I can just reel everything in and make sure that I also don't get overwhelmed, because when I look at this and I see all this stuff just on my screen, it overwhelms me. So it helps a lot when I put things with the correct due dates and all that stuff, because then I only see what pertains to me and I'm not looking at all the things, because that can get really overwhelming. All right, so that, you're kidding. Sorry about that, guys. That was the smoke alarm. So wonderful. Need to replace the battery on that. So that is what we've got going on for this week. Now, this upcoming week, I did want to share, we have another pop-up this Saturday night, right? So that is what is kind of our, it's on our list of things that we need to focus on as a business this particular week. So we have wholesale orders that we're fulfilling, that we work on during the week, and then we do a pop-up 2 times a month. And our second pop-up for the month of September is on Saturday. So I'm going to be creating a project for that. So, oh my gosh, I swear, nothing ever wants to cooperate with me when it comes to hardware. My keyboard is not working and it's driving me crazy. Like, my mouse is just like tripping out on me right now. So hold on one second. Let me do this. I'm gonna shut it off and then turn it back on. And hopefully that'll help a little bit. So much better. So much better. Okay. So I'm going to create a new weekly agenda for the business. It's going to be September 13 through 19. And I've also created a template for this. So it populates for me. I have a notes section, and I'm going to create a new pop-up project. So this is going to be pop-up, and it'll be on 9/18/21. And then I have a pop-up template that I have created. So I have a video on my YouTube channel that just went live this morning. If you want to be able to get either this exact template or a PDF version of a template that you can use for your future pop-ups, I will put that in the description below. That way you can create your own checklist. And if you are doing pop-ups, it's so much easier when you write things down or put things down in a place where you can look back and say, did I get everything? Because I've said it numerous times on this show, and I said it in the video that went up today. I can't tell you how many times, even with my checklist, I can't tell you how many times I have actually forgotten something really important for our pop-up. Construction. Anyway, so sometimes it's garbage bags. Sometimes I forget the tent. Sometimes I even forget our ingredients for our menu. So it's just, and that's because you think you're going to remember, because these are non-negotiable, important stuff for a pop-up. But I can't tell you. You can say you're going to remember, but you won't because you have so much on your plate already. Pop-ups are strenuous, like especially during the summertime. Sheesh, pop-ups are rough because it's hot. You're thinking about all the things that you need to bring. You're packing your car with all the stuff, making sure it gets safely to the destination. You want to make sure that you're not late. You want to make sure that you're all set up in time. You're trying to communicate with the other vendors or the host of the event. It's like there's just a lot, right, for you to manage when it comes to pop-ups. And it's not easy, but having a checklist will make it that much easier. And I need to take my own advice because admittedly, when we're packing or loading up the car. Charlie, my husband, usually does it because he's lifting stuff, and I'm a tiny little person, so I can't reach like the roof rack of our car or anything like that. But we always forget something, and I need to open up this checklist literally and just look at it. And as I look at it, I'll be able to see if I forgot anything. And then before we leave, I know I'm good to go. I have that peace of mind. But do I do it every time? No, I don't. And I'm admitting it here. You guys are my witnesses. I don't do it all the time, and I definitely should, because it'll give me that peace of mind, and it'll give me that confidence knowing, yeah, I did that. I'm going to be able to have as successful of an event as I can because I'm prepared. And so that's what this checklist is for. It's just basically to give you that peace of mind. And I also want to preface this by saying, no pop-up is the same. Every time there's always going to be a wrench thrown into the mix, right? Every event host is going to provide different things. And a good example is maybe one event organizer is going to provide you with the tent and the tables and the chairs. So you don't need to bring that. So you can remove that from your checklist. But then the next pop-up that you do, maybe they tell you you have to bring your own tent, table, and chairs. And so you have to be able to be flexible with the hosts of the event, and then also just your surroundings. And so because that's the nature of pop-ups, right? In comparison to a restaurant or a brick and mortar store where everything is in its place and it should be there when you return the next time. That's the nature and the fun, I think, of pop-ups. Like, it's gonna be different every time, which means you're gonna meet different people every time, which means you're going to create bonds and possible repeat customers that would not have seen you every single time. So that's what I think is the fun of pop-ups. But the reason why I think it's really important that these things are editable or you can change them is because of the reasons that I said. So this is what my template looks like in Notion. If you want to use Notion, or if you are a Notion user, like I said, I'll put it in the description below on how to get this template, or you can go into my pop-up checklist video here on YouTube and click on the link in that description if you want it right away. But I have created this for me, and you can obviously just cater it to what you sell and what you need, because it's an editable document. So that's that. I'm also going to show you guys my let's see, pop-up checklist. Oh, not here. Oh, I know where it is. Let's go into, apologies, let me turn this on again. Let's go to Canva really quick, because I created this checklist in Canva, so you guys can check it out. All right. So here is, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. All right. So here is the checklist that I created. It's a PDF, so it's a lot easier for you to put into, like if you're an iPad user, for example, you can put this into GoodNotes or even the Notes app, or any annotation app, since it's a PDF, and you can customize this for yourself. So here is the first page. It's a supplies page. So as you can see, I've filled out a few things already. There's the tent, the tables, the table cover, the chairs, signage, that type of thing. And then you have on the right side of the checklist open boxes, so that you can basically put in your own stuff, and a notes section. The next page is going to be your grocery list. I've left that completely open for you. You can fill this in yourself because we all have different needs. We all sell different items. So this is completely open for you. And then the next page is the to-do list. So things like promote the event on social media, do a booth mock-up, calculate travel time from your house to the event venue, that type of thing. That'll be there for you, and you can fill in more. And then at the very end, I put have fun, because you definitely want to have fun at these pop-ups. Pop-ups are just so much fun to do. In my opinion, they're just really fun. And then the last page is a generic one. I left this section completely blank. That way you can customize it for whatever checklist you personally need. And you can save this once again with all your annotations. You can print it out on your computer from your printer and just write on it, and then do like a copy. So that's what this is for. I hope this is really helpful for you, but I definitely think that if you're going to be doing a pop-up anytime soon, get a checklist. Start making it a normal thing. Because if your goal, especially for those of you out there that are doing pop-ups now, and your dream is to have a brick and mortar store like a cafe or a restaurant or a bakery one day, stuff like this is needed for your staff, for you to be able to help them and give them the tools to help you run a successful business. You're going to need a grocery list template, because they're going to help you figure out what inventory is low and what you need to order so you don't run out of anything. This is something that you want to already have in place, so that as you grow, you can just kind of adjust and accommodate to the new situation that you have. So hopefully that's helpful to you guys. I hope you guys use the template, download it. If you have any questions, please send me a message. I'm more than happy to connect with you here on YouTube, or you can follow me on Instagram at JustKissa. I'll put that in the description as well. Connect with me. And the last thing I'm going to do for today is a booth critique. So on the live show last week, I shared that my goal on here is to be doing booth critiques for you, because I want to be able to help as many people as I can have a successful pop-up event. And so I'm starting with my own booth. And if you guys have photos of your booth that you would like me to critique or do a critique on, please feel free, like I said, message me on Instagram, and I'd be more than happy to do a critique. So let me share for the last time, share my screen. Let's go into the Photos app. So this is a photo from yesterday's pop-up. And I've done a few improvements that I'm really proud of, and I'm going to show you, here we go. I'm going to kind of show you, there we go. I think this is a better photo to use. I'm going to show you what kind of improvements I did from the last one. So first off, this cart that you see here is just a cart that I got from IKEA. Charlie built it out, and originally in our last pop-up, these crates were not here. And so you could basically see straight through, and we were putting like boxes on there, bags for when customers were buying a bunch of things and needed a bag, and it was really distracting. So we got these crates. They were from Michael's, but you can buy them almost anywhere. I just, want to preface this by saying, if you're going to buy crates like this, make sure you measure so that you get the crate that is the right dimension for whatever you're creating. So we purchased 4 of them. They fit really great, and it has the same finish as the cart from IKEA, and that created more of a uniform look, and it was less distracting. So I was really happy about that. We also purchased this refrigerator because we sell products that are better off refrigerated. And so that was really nice. It was a nice display because it had glass, it has lighting on the inside. So we purchased this refrigerator and we just told the event organizer, our friends at the cafe, we just said, hey, we need electrical run. And so we just taped it just to be safe, and we put the refrigerated products in there, and it created a nice kind of U shape. As you can see right here, it creates this U shape down this way, across, and then up here, which leads me to this foldable shelf. So this folding shelf, Charlie actually made because I was telling him that I really wanted to be able to have something collapsible that doesn't take up a lot of space in the car when we're driving to and from pop-ups. And I wanted something that was easy to set up, something that wasn't gonna take, multiple screws, or I need to bring a drill or a screwdriver or anything like that. I wanted something really easy. So he created this for me. And that I put that on this side to kind of, like I said, create that U shape. And I usually stand here, or Charlie will stand here, which is where we help customers. So I like that feeling of just being like framed by eye level or higher items, because I've said this in other live shows as well, but anything that you put at someone's eye level is what they're going to look at first, always, because it's in their line of sight, and then they usually travel down this way. And so for this shelf, for example, if something is at eye level, which on average, this shelf is what is at people's eye level, chances are it's going to come down this way and then move toward me. So that's when, if the product creates interest at first and their line of sight travels to me, that is my perfect moment to greet them, say hello, let them know that if they have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Whatever you want to, whatever I'm in the mood to say based on the body language that they're giving me, it gives the eye something natural to look at, and then it leads over to me. Now, one critique that I have is I had put product here and on the second to the last shelf. I would not do that, just because it gets less eye traffic, right? Because it's way down low and not a lot of people crouch down and actually look down that far, because at the second to the last shelf, you actually have to bend your knees to take a look at what it is. So strategically, because I knew this, I actually put our best sellers down here, because if I have repeat customers, they're going to look for these particular items, and it naturally gets them to look down because they're looking for a specific item. Now, if you are a brand new pop-up, you might not have repeat customers just yet. And so if that's the case, then I definitely don't recommend putting product this low. I would put decorations, or I would put back stock, like extra inventory that you might have, that type of stuff. That's what I would recommend that you put down here, so that, it's just maybe extra storage for you, but you're not putting product that you're hoping to sell right at the bottom, because it makes it really hard for people to see. And then this particular time we were selling food. So Charlie has his setup. This is our camping table. If you guys do pop-ups, I highly recommend looking at camping equipment for pop-ups, because they're really compact, and when you disassemble them, they lay almost flat, which is great when you're transporting things and you're trying to make space in the car so that you can fit as much stuff as you can. So this camping table was what he used. It worked really great. These instant crates, woo, game changer. We no longer use bags or reusable bags. We leave these instant crates in our car. They're collapsible. Once again, it's a collapsible item, and he was just using it as an extra prep surface so that he had some extra counter space. But if you are doing pop-ups, I highly recommend those. I will link them down below as well, because they were a game changer for us. We love them, and our family now uses them too because they're so awesome. So yeah, instant crates, gotta love them. So that is a few tips that I have for the pop-up, our pop-up. This is our setup from yesterday. A few things that I would do also is, see this gap here where you can see Charlie from head to toe. I would close this gap a little bit. So I would probably squeeze this cart and this shelf together, and I would put it more into the center of our tent. And then for Charlie, I would also probably squeeze him in and move him toward the center more, so that we don't look so sparse. Because another tip that I have is, when things look empty or when things look too sparse, it's not as inviting in comparison to a more full setup, a more full display. So if you are the type of product that you only made one of each type thing, usually I don't recommend that unless you're selling really high ticket items like custom art or really, really high end jewelry or sculptures or something like that. If you don't sell high ticket items, I definitely recommend making more inventory so your products look full and your tent and your display area don't look really empty, because it looks less inviting for whatever reason. And so that is just something that I've learned over time. When you work in retail too, you start to learn about these tips and tricks of what, is appealing to the eye. And if you have worked in retail before, take those skills that you learned in that industry and use it for your pop-ups, because retail placement, this is the exact same thing. Remember that. And so if you're selling apparel, if you're selling food, if you're selling jewelry, whatever it is. I mean, at one point we were even selling cell phone cases. It's really, really important to make sure that it doesn't feel like people barely have anything to choose from. People like to see an abundance of choices, right? And so they want to see that things are full and not like kind of gapped and like empty looking. So those are my tips. I want to thank you guys for joining on today's Prep Talk live show. I go live every Monday with a little bit of what happened last week, what I have planned for this week, and then I try to share as much as I can about doing pop-ups and booth critiques and stuff like that. So if you have any questions on those things, or you want to send me photos of your booth to critique on the live show, like I said, down below. And until then, I will see you guys again next week. Bye. Take care.